Hello everybody, welcome back to the Feldy map, Farming Simulator 11. Map made by Farmer Yip. We've just been in the process of exploring it to kind of give it a good look over like I haven't been able to before. I just started my timer for Farmer Yip, so I know when I'm at the end of the half an hour and don't continue to bore you. But we were looking around the map and kind of taking a little bit of a tour. And so I'll just turn on the PDA map. We had turned into this area, and there's a little island over here, I believe, where there's a sell point. I can see one off to the left. A little town, village, if you will, with lots more cuttable hedge. If a person wants to do that kind of thing, there's plenty of it here to do that, but kind of like I explained in the last one, I didn't do much hedge trimming with the last time that I played it. Oh, here's a tree where I can prove that this. I think this is a solid object. Boom. Yeah, that's going to stop you up short. Now, I think if you continue on down through here, there really isn't a road, so I don't know that Farmer Yip intended that people would just drive here. If I give him a mouse cursor, there's a field over here, and that isn't the one right here. I think maybe it's fenced in over here, just tremendously steep, the farming that's done on this map. But there's a big old grassy area over here, and I know you can drive through here if you wanted. Maybe something I could do at some point if I continue a series with this is actually put in a road so we can get over to town over here. But just looking at it the way Farmer Yip probably intended it, with no road, I don't think he wanted cars coming over here. Didn't intend for the player to come here. And you know what's interesting too? You see this, you see the grass foliage over here. And in Farm Simulator 11, remember, you couldn't just cut grass anywhere that you wanted. You know, so there would be decorative grass on the edge of the road, kind of like we see here. I don't know offhand if this is even cuttable over here. It may not be. But there was a type of grass you could grow in the field where you could cut it. So designated grass, if you will. And then I think in later versions, maybe it was in Farm Sim 13, but I don't recall. Might have taken until 15 before you had the ability to cut grass anywhere. If you saw grass, it basically was cuttable. But what I started to say was, you see this strip here, you'll see this occasionally in this map. I think mappers sometimes reduced the amount of foliage it was here because it takes rendering power on the computer. And so sometimes it would cut down on that. And as I explained in the last video, I upped the rendering power in the game here to where you could see for further distances, but I have a feeling in the original that Farmer Yip created, you couldn't even see over here. Well, you could see it, but it just kind of blurred and it looks similar, whereas now you can see the foliage on the other side. So it has an appearance of being a kind of a random strip in here. But like I say, if you're not intended to be driving out here, and there's nothing stopping me going out here, I think I could because I've done it before, well then you would never notice or see that perhaps to save game resources for the computer, he just opted not to put some foliage here. Because if the player doesn't see it from here, and if you're over in this field and you don't see it looking this way, then you just will not have it there. It's kind of like putting grass under objects that are never meant to be seen. It's like, why would you do it? You know, the game is still going to render it even if you can't see it, so you just as well not put it there for it to render. So I don't know if that was Farmer Yip's motivation or if he just got tired and quit putting grass on the hill, or if there's an oversight. I'm going to assume he was a very sharp fellow. I'm assuming he knew what he was doing when he excluded it from there. So this is kind of just a little town, a few buildings over here, if you will. It's more for ambiance, but there is a trigger, and we, of course, drove past it. So really, ordinarily, there isn't any point to coming down where we just did. Where you would come is over here. You kind of do a circle around the building, This must be a restaurant of some kind over here. It's a little bit bumpy terrain. And over here's a trigger. I know I've sold spuds here. I don't remember if it takes other commodities too. Possibly does. But if it's a restaurant, makes sense it would take potatoes. So that's really all I would come to this town for. Kind of nice. And like I say, lots of cuttable hedge if that's your thing. Well, here in Alpha Oaks, I have to do a little voiceover. I'm not sure what happened in my recording, but I think I had a cough or something coming, so I think I turned the sound off. There's a button I press on my microphone, and I thought I pressed it again to turn my voice back on for recording, but it didn't. I didn't get the job done. So I recorded all these things, and it didn't put any of it in my recording. It did capture all the visual. I still have the sound of the equipment and everything, just not my crummy voice. So I'm going to do my best to do a voice over here. This is watching it again as it happened. I can't remember everything I said. I think what we just did on that road, I'm noting that that road is a back road going to the main farm. Here's another road just heading into the field, and you can kind of follow the mouse over there. It goes clear over to where the kelp fertilizer factory was. There's just another way to get in there. Otherwise, I mean, these are some very twisted roads, and so you're going to have to learn as I will right along with me as we go through the map where to get to various places. More cuttable hedge on the side of the road. This here is a fertilizer factory, and I believe there are materials probably down in the quarry that you would haul over to here, probably with water. I'm just going to do a quick circuit through here. Probably rock or silica, whatever it is. Can't drive inside the building there. This is an old style. That's just a door painted on there. Not even sure where all the inputs and the output. I'm not sure where the output is either. So we'll have to consult the manual to see as we go if we use this place. I kind of think the last time when I played this, which has been a number of years ago, quite a few years ago actually, when I played the Feldy map, I don't recall using the fertilizer factory all that much. I seem to recall I got all the fertilizer I needed through kelp. This here is another road kind of heading down over to where we do the biofuel and the kelp down over the hill. Just another route to get in there. All these small fields, and again, more cuttable hedge there if that's something you're interested in. So, continuing on up this road, it gets quite high in here. It's pretty steep, and this road, as maybe you've seen and kind of going around, it's a big old circuit, not a racetrack, but this is the only blacktop on the map, so it could be that's the reason why Farmer Yip just didn't establish traffic on the map. I mean, we could put it on there if we wanted to, just drawing a circuit around this road, but I don't think I will. I'm not going to go clear to the end of this here. This is the pea field that I came out, I think on the previous video, so I'm just going to turn around here and go back. That's kind of the main drag back to the farm shop. And once again, I'm getting onto the right side of the road because that's what I'm used to over here, but I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be on the left side of the road. Just incredibly steep down through here, and probably should have just done a jump cut to go from one location to the other so you didn't all see me driving on the wrong side of the road. Coming down quite a bit of altitude here. We're going to take the road down here that we pointed out earlier that heads kind of the back way up to where the main farm is, kind of in the center. Yeah, now I'm figuring out which lane I need to be in. There are sheep in this pasture here, but we don't do anything with them. I think there's going to be another sheep field we'll see up there. They're kind of just there for ambiance. And over on the right here, of course, is the water, the ocean water coming in. Kind of takes us to a neat little cove back here. And I just noticed this time there's kind of a drop off there. Well, not really drop off. Looks like a boating ramp or something you could put in there. But of course, no boats in Farm Sim 11. Well, maybe there is. Shoot, somebody out there may have a map where you can do it. So this kind of comes back to a pinch point in the map. You can kind of see the water coming down over the hill. Not the most winning of textures, we'd have to admit. But once again, this is an old game. And so there weren't as many tools available to modders at the time. You know, but still, I mean, it's a tremendous map, no matter how you cut it. I mean, how many maps have, you know, a route like this through rocks where... And I don't know if this is how Scotland is. You know, Farmer Yip is Scottish. Maybe this is how his homeland is, where there's rocks everywhere. And when you have a flat spot and can put a building, that's where you put it, like we just saw. And otherwise, you don't do anything with it if it's all in rock. But I've never been to Scotland, so someone else will have to tell me how it is. We could have gone to the right, but I opted to kind of drive up here to the main farm. And it's going to be kind of a little bit of an obstacle course to get over there. There's some tight pathways in here. I think right ahead, those other two buildings are just storage for equipment. Oh, rammed right into the corner of the building, already giving it some extra depreciation. But in here, I think you can have some of the commodities, and you can kind of see with the pictures on the wall what goes where. I think it's very particular what gets dumped in there. Well, I'm not sure if you can dump it in or if you can just pick it up in here. I seem to recall in this era of farming simulator there'd be piles that would rise up that you could take, like canola on the left. And I really don't know what this is here. It just seems like a random hole in the ground, and I don't know what that's for. And so I think I'm going to just steer around it here because I don't really want to fall into the hole. I haven't a clue what that hole is there for. This right here, you know, I'd initially thought that maybe that was an output from the storage, but I'm not so certain anymore. I'm not sure what comes out of there. This now is heading over kind of to the point where we started. There's some chickens back in here. And last time I played this map, I know I didn't do much with chickens, you know, but you can give them what they need to eat and collect a few eggs. And I think in the first clip we saw kind of where to take them in the warehouse down near the bottom of the map. This now over here, we might recall, this is where we sprung onto the map at the beginning. Kind of just a spot here where we can store tractors. I think that's fuel right here. I attempted to get some fuel out when I first recorded this, but I don't know that it gave me. So there's maybe a trick to, or maybe I gotta fill it with biofuel. I really don't know in order to get more sauce. Surely there's a way to refuel somewhere. Just need to find it. There's a road here that kind of heads up to the other fields, but I think I'm going to head back over here to kind of just further explore the rest of the barnyard. Here we go by the house. So kind of curving on around the edge here. Yeah, this is traditional storage we saw back in Farm Sim 11. They had kind of one input point that you see on the ground in front of the vehicle, and then the outputs in the 4 silos to the right, depending on the commodity you drive underneath and then unload. So it appears they have something similar on this map. I kind of think that there's a chaff trigger over by the edge of one of them too. For some reason, I think you can pick it up off the ground. Kind of a road here, heading up beside the house, up the hill. I don't think it goes anywhere. Kind of bursts right into a small field of wheat, it looks like. Kind of a smallish little square field up there. So, yeah, the road, boy, we really got some learning to do to learn the road network. I have half a notion to put some more lines on the PDA map to see where we're going. And what I did right there, I kind of drove into the fence. I would just observe that Farmer Yip has, in many of his maps, has taken care to remove a lot of hard objects or to take collisions off of them for the sake of course play, anybody that's used course play to move equipment around from point A to point B knows that anything that's hard objects, or if there's a lot of them in close proximity, they can wreak havoc on your ability to use course play. So a lot of times you will see the fence or the tree or whatever sitting there, but you could drive right through it, and it appears that's kind of how we set up the fences, which is pretty handy. Here's now another field of, or pasture rather, not field, of sheep, and they don't do anything. We don't interact with them. We don't feed them, and you know, initially coming down here, I thought maybe these fences were hard objects. Turns out it's not. You can drive right through them, but I know that there's fences further on where we aren't allowed to drive through just willy-nilly. So, but apparently down here we can. So, kind of a forest of trees off to the right. Then another road here coming into a field of barley, I believe. All these fields tucked away. Gates automatically opening. That one kind of passes into the ground. That isn't exactly realistic, but oh well, we'll ignore that little part. Nice little field in here. All these access points, and this is kind of a four-way here. We're going to continue on to the right, I think, before we head on up the hill in front of us. So head on down the hill here. There's kind of a little valley in between some mountain peaks, if you will, or major hills, whatever we call them. And look at the shape of this field. Not only is it hilly, you know, and it climbs the hills, but it also is so strangely shaped, if you will, kind of shoehorned in between these peaks. You know, you're going to be hard-pressed to use the regular hire mode for workers to farm this field. I know in later versions of the game we had more mods available to help with this, where you could combine kind of coming around the edge of the field, but I don't think we had those back in Farm Sim 11. So we do have course play. It'll maybe help a little bit, but I think course play in this version, yeah, it may not be as helpful as we wish to have it. So if we farm this field, we're going to have to do it maybe the old-fashioned way. And I almost wonder if that's why Farmer Yip set up some of these things the way that he did, just to force you to farm and not to hire a lot of things done. So we're probably going to take the road off to the right here, and you know, I think I'm coming to the end of my voiceover, maybe in a minute or so. But I know taking this road clear ahead, I've kind of got the pointer on the PDA map. This road will go all the way over to where the shop is, kind of the main drag on the other side that we first came down. So we're not going to go all the way over there. Oh boy, I hope I've been recording. For all I know, I just lost some footage. It's kind of hard to tell on my mic if it's actually recording. I'm going to assume that it is. But over the hill here, it joins back up with, you know, as we know, we started at the farm shop, and this road came over here. We kind of went to the lower part of the map. So I think this road goes over there, joins up. Perhaps it takes a bend up here. I don't recall. But we'll be through there some other time. For the moment, I'm going to head up this one here. Sorry, I'm not the best handling the mouse and driving. This one should come up here to the access point for the sheep, as I recall. Oh yeah, there's another side road coming off. Well, I guess it's handy to have all these roads. This one, I believe, heads over to the farm shop. That's another cross path over there. But then over here, I'm assuming we come over to the place where we would head up to where the sheep are. I seem to recall it's this long, narrow roadway, if you will, getting up there. Yeah, it's looking familiar. So you can get in here. Now, these, I believe, are hard objects. Don't make me a liar. Yeah, that one you crash into. I think this one over here you crash into. I think the assumption is your sheep are in this pasture to the right. And so you kind of come up this somewhat crooked road, and you're not able to get in there. I suppose if you had the teleport mod, you could. But you get all the way up here, and it'll let you farm the field over here, so you can come in over here and capture this barley. But you need to fulfill a mission in order to access the sheep. Yeah, it says you must have enough biofuel and storage to open this gate. So, one of the missions that we need to do in order to get in here. And then maintain the quantity so that we don't get kicked out or have it shut in our face. Oops. Need to allow a little more room to turn this puppy around. You know, a mod I'm thinking of throwing out of here because I'm just not used to playing with it is the, what is it? Get rid of the collision camera. Do you guys play with a collision camera mod, you know, where it turns that off? I've always liked having the collisions on, so because if I take this and I drive inside a building, it's like my vehicle disappears. Whereas if you have full-on collisions, it'll zoom in close to your vehicle. Anyway, continuing on, we're getting kind of to the upper part of the map. Here's an access point to another very uniquely shaped field. Rocks everywhere. I've harvested this field. It's a lot of work if you don't have hired help to help you or another human. It looks like there's a crossroad in here. I kind of think this meets up with the main drag that heads down. You can kind of see it over there. Heads on up the hill. I think the main drag on the other side, if you look along, is along these hedges over here, and then it heads down over the hill. And it looks like this also just heads down over the hill by our cattle. And this is something I need to learn to know how to feed them, how to take care of the outputs, what particular mods are needed for them. And there's some helpful HUDs in there. I need to figure those out. Oh yeah, there's a path over to this road over here. So this is kind of behind the buildings. I think it continues on just a little bit, and there's more fields out here. Oh, the hogs are over here too. Okay, so we're going in between. There's the hogs, and there's the cattle. Is that everything with the hogs? Oh, I see. That's some of the hogs, and then the hog building itself up here, probably where you interact with the triggers, is up over here. I believe this is red clover up here that you see, so we'll just go take a gander at it. More cuttable hedge, I think, on either side. Nice gates that open. Here's a good old Piggy Wiggies. Isn't that cool? I mean, even by today's standards, you gotta say that's pretty cool to see that. Now once again, kind of looking out over this, I can't really account for why we see the color brown or tan or whatever that is when it's in a field of red. I think those are the distance files. And so this is a tweak maybe at some point I can make to the map, depending on how much energy I have to literally do a series on here. Cross that bridge when we come to it. But anyway, there's the pigs. I think you feed them there, you pick them up. And then out here, there's just a number of fields. We can kind of see it on there. These are, looks like some of the larger fields of the map, and it's flat up here at least. So, yeah, there's red clover, potatoes or sugar beets to the right. This looks like peas. And I don't know where all this road goes. Maybe I'll just go to the end of it here and do a jump cut when I head back the other way, so you don't have to just watch me driving. I don't know if it takes us down the side of the map or if it just kind of dead ends over here. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so it doesn't take us down that way. Here's the valley we were just over by looking down. I know there's trees on here, you just don't see many of them. I guess you do see some of them. But yeah, I guess there isn't a road down there. Doesn't mean you couldn't go down there, but there is a little bit of a road here. I'm not sure why. Unless it's just to go around the field. It is rather smooth. I don't know, what's this? Yeah, I wonder about a little valley like this. I mean, I hesitate to drive up there. I don't want to just get all stuck. But you sometimes wonder if good old Farmer Yip hid something up in there to go find just by leaving something like that open. You just never know. And I know on this map I modified. I put in kind of my own back routes, if you will. Well, we're kind of driving through a tree. No, we still kind of have this road over here. I guess it's a road. I don't know what else it would be. Here's kind of another little... It could be that this is just ambiance he chose for the edge of the map. But maybe there's something back in there. I'm kind of curious what that secret mission is. I don't know that I ever fulfilled the secret mission, so maybe I'll find it. Oh boy. Got this, let me just head back out to the main drag. Yeah, in this older version of the game, the camera follows every shred of the contour. I'm glad they smoothed that out, kind of in later versions of the game, to where you didn't feel every bump. And anyway, we didn't go down in this area here, but this is grassy area, I guess, if you need a lot of it. I assume it's all cuttable. So now I'll do a jump. Well, I guess we don't need to do a jump cut. Once we get down the hill, we're going to be in new territory here. Love that the gate's open. Don't need to do anything about it. This must be where we get milk over here. There's probably a trigger somewhere in here. Don't know where it is. I'll need to consult the manual. I guess this is a pasture for the cattle. And I'm assuming if you buy cows here... Well, let me see here. I'm trying to remember, and maybe somebody in the comments will. It's been so long since I've literally played Farm Sim 11. I don't remember if the cows just were, or if you had to literally buy them. I think in later versions of the game you had to buy the cows, or the sheep, or whatever, before they would appear, but maybe in Farm Sim 11 they just were. So, I guess I don't remember. Down here, I believe that this is a feed mixer, and I think in back of it is storage. I don't think those are silage clamps. I think those are storage. So in the front here, it helps you know the recipe to make feed, and then I believe maybe one is probably for pig food and one is for shining it bright. I think one is for pig food and one is for cattle feed. Oh, I'm starting to hear mooing. That's where water would go in, it looks like, and then back here you would pick it up. So it looks like these might be storages for, maybe it's the commodities that go in. I don't know if it's storage for the output or just what it is. Then we have one other pathway up here. This must be a field of grass, kind of a meadow, if you will, to go make some hay. I don't remember spending time up here, but that's kind of cool. Like I say, very hilly. And I just love the hills. I don't think that's any secret around here either. But yeah, make feed here. Pick it up here, so conveniently placed close to where it'll be needed. So that's kind of handy. Those are the animal barns over there. Another field of barley. A very steep field. I've been playing on Farm Sim 15, and I have a hillside combine. I don't know if there was a hillside combine for 11, but if you farmed this app in real life, you'd surely need one. Now, this is a main drag, which will head down, I think, in a little bit. It goes right back to where the farm shop or store is. Maybe we'll go back down it, I don't know. Oh, thank you, Eustace Farmer. That's our handy notification indicating where our 30 minutes are up. So, Yeah, there's kind of a passageway down here through these mountains of rock. I mean, how cool is this? Once again, I realize the graphics aren't what they are in later versions of the game, but this is still pretty neat that he would create something like this. Probably a little brutal hauling a combine through here, but you kind of need to do it, because I kind of think this might be, maybe it's the only way to get, no, there's probably another road. There's probably another road to get their way over here, but there are some additional fields, kind of trapped, if you will, in a high mountain valley. I guess that's what you would call this. Got some red clover over here. And that looks like oilseed rape right over here. So just a couple extra fields for doing what you need to do. And I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to cut the episode here because I'm a little nervous that I lost some footage if it wasn't recording me talking. Not that anything material was missed, for those annoyed by the sound of my voice, but I'm enjoying digging into this map again. It's hard to do it justice, even on a couple episodes. So thank you for watching and tagging along. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.